Well, hello everyone. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about light language. What is light language? Well, we have Heather Fillmore here, and she is a light language professional that is going to talk all about this. It's such a fascinating topic. And we'll just get right into it. Hello, Heather. How are you today?
Hi, I'm really great. Thanks for having me.
Good, yeah. So happy that you're joining us. So I found when we had our little conversation a couple of weeks ago, what you do and who you are was very interesting. And I know I had given you a reading and I was getting some weird, crazy vibes from you, and you were doing certain things during the reading, and it just really intrigued me. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do, and where's your passion?
Nice, nice. So my passion really has always been um with trauma, with people's patterns, like why do people get caught up in this hurricane that they can't get out of? And so I started doing a lot of research on trauma. I really enjoy them, how the brain works, how our body works. And probably 15 years ago, I was singing on my mic. I love to sing. I'm not a great singer, but I love the mic.
Me
So,
too.
right,
Same.
yeah. So I was singing, and all of a sudden, I started talking gibberish. It came through on the mic, and I thought, oh my goodness, like, what is that? Did I hear that right? And that's how it all started. I did know what it was, so it took me um, a lot of investigating to find out exactly what it was. So light language is it's channeled frequencies of sound and light, and it's bypasses the linear mind, and it goes right to healing. It heals. And I people call it many things. I went to a priest because I thought somebody told me, oh, you're talking in tongues. And then I went to somebody else and they said, oh no, this entity entered your body, and they tried to give me an exorcism. So that
Not
didn't.
that that doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen near as much as we think it does, I think.
No, so it's been quite the journey, and I've since uh let go of trying to figure out the the correct description or correct word for it. So it's tongues. It's called many things. I prefer light language.
Very cool. Well, I think this is a interesting topic. So basically, you're saying that it can help with trauma, it can help with maybe manifestation. So I think that's great with the simple answer of what that is, but I don't think there's anything simple about it at all, in a sense. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying there? It feels like you could change the energy frequency by what? How would you do that?
I The language in itself when it comes through, and it's so interesting because it's been a journey with this language, working with clients, because each time it's different depending on who I'm working with. If I worked, like the other day, I was working with a native woman, and all of a sudden it started speaking the native tongue. Like, and she connected it to her mother who had passed. And so I was giving her a big healing with the light language. You have to really, when you speak, you have to, it's almost like you go into a meditation. Like it's meditative. You get right out of your mind. You get out of that linear thinking, because it's not linear, you know and you get, once you start speaking it, you feel it. And many times I've gone to people and just said, I really want to be able to um, learn how to decipher this in English. And some people say you can, and other people say no, it's not. You can't do that. It's a feeling, and people feel it. And when they feel this feeling, it heals. Because as I'm speaking it, and usually I'll do a reading with somebody. Just they'll pick a card with codes um, that correspond with okay, so what I do, Jamie Price is a light language practitioner in the States, and she's amazing. So she created these cards with codes of light language. So what I do is I get a client, one of the parts of our session is I get a client to pick a card intuitively, and they do. And it could be anything from, you know, trust or self-worth or whatever, but there are codes associated with it. So what I will do, I can look at the codes and all of a sudden I'm speaking the language.
The language of the code.
Yes. And so it's
So
all about codes.
I think that's fascinating. And my
Yeah.
question is, in the end, who wrote the code? I always say who wrote the code, where we may not need to understand perfectly the language, but we need to understand that there was some greater force out there that wrote the code, and we are here to determine what that code is.
Yes, exactly. And you know, it's really great because when my clients come, I'll just kind of explain, you know, okay, I speak this light language, you know, if you do, are you comfortable with this? And nobody has ever said, no, I'm not comfortable. Just do what you do. And it's so great because I can't really explain. It's not easy. But once they experience it, then they don't want to know. They just,
it's all about feeling better in who we are. The human condition can be challenging sometimes. So this energy healing and understanding that. So let me ask you something. Do you find some people work better with sound, or some people work better with light? Do you find that you do a combination of both?
I do a combination of both. So when a client comes to me, we talk about what is the, you know, most people have this war, okay, internal war. So what I do is I want to know what that weapon is inside, you know, what's the repetitive thoughts over and over and over. And a lot of people, you know, not good enough, or they need to make a move, but they can't, they're stuck. So we talk about all that. And when they bring that all up, I can intuitively go in and think, okay, I know how to guide them. I know what to say. And then language will kick in from time to time to accommodate me, to help me. And it's like my best friend in the healing. So we'll clear. As they're talking, we're clearing. Now, I'm not interrupting them when they're speaking, but sometimes it will come through. And then we go to the cards, as I mentioned before. But then when we go to the table and I do my energy work, I put on a CD that's all sound healing. And I'm guided from there because the lady I work with through the sound healing music also speaks light language. So she's singing in light language. So it's fascinating. And then I'll use my tuning forks or the drum, whatever I'm called to use. Sometimes just my hands and clearing will do the job, or I'll hear tuning fork. And I have a tuning fork program to I am that I am. It's one of my favorite things to say. I am that I am. It's so powerful.
So I think that's, if we can understand when it comes, I think I'm hearing some feedback, I'm sorry, but if we can understand that, you know, there has been lots of experiments in history where sound can change forms. It can, you know, you'll have a sound frequency on sand, and the sand will actually go into these geometric shapes, and then they change the frequency, and all of a sudden it changes shape again. So we know sound can change molecules. So, you know, if you think about it in a bigger picture, maybe not everybody is so familiar about what energy healing is, and I think this awareness is so important, because once you've actually experienced something like this, although I've never had a healing from you, Heather, I would love to do that. I am going to definitely. I don't think we're very close though, are we? Where are you located?
Not in person, no.
No, but you could do it. You could do it remotely too.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's Fantastic. So we
Yeah.
should book a session. I think that'd be really cool. But I've had some really amazing energy treatments where you know the sound is affecting you. You can feel it in your body. You can feel popping in your body. You can feel the energy in your body. I've had healings where I've had somebody touching me on one side and then nobody else in the room and somebody touching me on the other side and healing
Yes.
both sides. And I'd be like, and I wanted to open my eyes and go, I feel like four hands on me. And I know there's only one other person in here. And it was very interesting to see that. So I don't
It's,
know. What do you think about that? Do you have other helpers too that help you when you're doing that?
yes, it's fascinating. It's funny when you just said that, I got goosebumps.
Yeah,
Anytime
yeah.
I get goosebumps and I get this emotion just come up, it's like it's like, yes, we have helpers. We all have presence and powers around us. Now, if you were to ask me this, years ago, because I have my mind is, I'm very right brained, but I have a lot of left brain thinking sometimes just from programming. If you would have said that somebody would told me I'd be working with guides or the presence and the powers, I'd say, okay, sure. Yeah. But with anything, when you have this come into this experience of it, oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. And this is what how I like to empower my clients to say, you don't have to become dependent on people for healing. Don't become dependent on drugs, on your vices. You are the master of you. So I teach people, like, once we get these traumas up and out, then we're connecting simultaneously to all that is,
Is it
right?
always trauma though, Heather?
Yes. Trauma, it's interesting when people think of trauma, they think, oh my God, this big catastrophe that happened in my life. But trauma could be something as simple as going for a root canal, or, somebody leaving you, maybe your mom in a grocery store and you couldn't find her. Like, it's the tiniest little things we wouldn't think of that get trapped.
Well, I find that interesting. I've recently, I grew up on a farm. I had horses. My mom was a riding teacher. I was an avid rider for many, many years. And I'm now in a position where I have these beautiful horses that are maybe not being utilized as much as they need to be because horses like to work. So
Yeah.
I've started kind of going out there, but I'm dealing with this one horse. Her name is Smiley. She's a real sweetheart, but boy, she's huge. and my brain remembers all of the particulars when it comes to dealing with horses and riding. But, as I'm lunging her, I'm looking at myself or projecting myself on her back. And I'm like, okay, it's been 20 years since I've been on a horse, but yet there's something inside of me that says, I need to do this not only for exercise. I want to hang with the horses. I want to be in nature. I want to recreate this with a healthy respect to a 2,000-pound horse.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
but I don't have a lot of trauma when it comes to horses. I think it's just time. Do you think there's some way we could work with that so I don't carry this fear with me? Horses feel fear.
Have you had so you've never had an experience where the horse fucked you, or
Oh, many. I've had many, many experiences like that. But my mother taught me how to fall off a horse, actually. And it's
okay.
very interesting where you can learn that. But do you think that's it? Just the healthy respect for if you fall off a 2,000-pound horse, you're going to hurt yourself. And I am middle-aged.
Of course. Of course. There's always that risk, there's always that risk. But
But I don't want that risk to stop me.
no. Well, there you go. So what I would do, have a session with you, is I would go in and I would clear. And so there's a part of your brain called the amygdala, and it stores trauma as well. It's stored all in your body, but depending on, I never know when I touch my hands where it is. It hides in the silliest spots. It could hide in your hip. It could hide in your knee. Like, it just, when there is trauma and you have that sudden, oh my gosh, the fight or flight and you freeze, the freeze part. Some people hold it in their stomach. Some people hold it in their neck. Some people don't hold it in their body, but it's up here in their brain. So I would go in and I would do a scan and find out where it is and just clear. And but there is an interesting though, you have to be open. You know, you have to be very open. You have to be ready to say, I'm ready to release this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it'll take a few sessions because there's resistance, because it's a pattern. It's not like you don't want to release it. It's that you're so programmed to keep it. It's almost like a friend. Survival, you know, our patterns in survival are like our friends because they helped us get out, right? So,
well, I think this is something I guess, you know, logically, I know that because I am just working with them, grooming them and lunging them and tacking them up and so on and so forth. So I know I'm kind of working through it in that way, but I need a little bit of a boost. And I think maybe it would be really good to be seeing what I can do with that. And then I'd be totally willing to share my experience with everybody and see if we break through. And that would be awesome.
I love it. Yes, I'm up for the challenge. Are you?
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. I invite you in.
Pardon?
I invite you in.
I shall enter.
That's wonderful. That sounds great. I love getting healing treatments. And, you know, I know the intention of what they can do. And I don't think they get enough acknowledgement when it comes to energy and healing. And I think it's an underrated profession and modality. And I think it needs a lot more exposure.
Oh my goodness. Well, myself, who's had some trauma as a young child, and then other little things, I talked to therapists for years, and you know, which was great, but I didn't get any further than talk and understanding, okay, I know what happened to me. I know how I responded, but why does my body keep reacting? You know, and it was only when I found my first energy practitioner, and I also did a lot of self-hypnosis. And oh my gosh, when I started this journey, I would shake. Like my body would shake. So all kinds of things, and then big fits of crying, and you know. So
I think your body will, if you are really just sort of in tune to the frequencies of your body, you will physically feel a change. You will feel a shift. You will feel the energy. You will feel it. You won't, and it's not something your brain is creating. It is actually a frequency and a code coming within your energy. And that's the most fascinating part about it. Although I'm not an energy worker, I do work with energy. Well, I'm an energy worker, but I'm not a healer or anything like that. I work with the data field and I read the data. But I guess you would do that in some way too. When you're doing a scan of somebody's body, you need to kind of look, you're reading sort of the field around them, are you not?
Yeah, yes, I am. Like I put my hands on somebody, even in, you know, the brain. When I go in, see, I feel everything. So I just go with what's off. So it's almost like there's all these wires I see, like they're going the wrong ways. And all I do is balance those left and right brains. And sometimes it's so interesting when I started doing this, I put my hands on and I could feel the energy move. And I'd actually open my eyes to see if my hands moved or if I moved the client's head. Because that's what it felt like, but it's not. It's just my hands were in place and it's just the energy moving. And sometimes it moves back and forth. Sometimes I feel the resistance of the client. So I'll go in and say, you know, just say, it's okay. I got you. Your higher, you know, our higher selves meet. It's okay. It's safe. And when I say this, automatically it goes. Yeah.
That's amazing.
No,
well,
it's fascinating.
How do everybody get a hold of you if they'd like to talk more about that? Or is there any literature that you have or anything like that I can put in the bottom of the comments, just so people can get to know you a little bit better?
Yeah, for sure. Well, my website is www.awakeningthetruth.ca, and any information to contact me is on that.
That's amazing. So I'm going to put that at the bottom of the comments, and then I'm going to book an appointment with you, and we're going to get through this trauma, and I'm going to get on a horse and I might even I might have to actually, I kind of think what I'll do is I'll probably film the first time that I get back on a horse after 20 years and then we'll just film the progression and of my healing as we go. How about that? That sounds like I'm putting myself right out there, aren't I?
That's awesome. I wanted to mention that I also write poetry. So in my poetry, I've started expanding a little bit where I write it and then the light language will come through. So I was wondering, do we have time maybe to do a poem?
Absolutely. Yes. Do a poem.
Yeah. Okay. So this poem, like I said, I just love the I am that I am. It's so empowering. Even when you speak it, it's like, yeah. So that's the name of my poem. And I just wrote it not long ago, so I don't have it memorized. So I'll have to keep looking over at the words. Some words I memorized. Okay, you ready? And in between, the light language will kick in for an extra kick, an extra boost. Okay, ready?
Great, ready.
All right, here we go. I am God, the awareness of being. My thirst for expansion is the light I am seeing. I merge with Mother Earth to relinquish the past. The departed is wisdom I choose to recast. Only I can steal my joy. I am the thief of thought. No other is to blame for the dread I caught. When I fondle dismay, a remedy appears. It takes only courage to enter the spheres. My attention is focused in the realm of first class. All that doesn't serve shall dissolve and pass. My desire to resurrect to an evolved higher form is the medicine I swallow, the dance I perform. My expression in life is a direct reflection that my I am God is deep in affection. It is my I am beckoning for change when love's frequency falls out of range. My true image is what I see when I surround myself with astral beauty. Oh, halatona kamashino koranta, aretoriano komamaka, aretina koretariano komamakash. The act of free will is the archer's eye. The target of perception is truth's eye. I am that I am, embodied and free. God is creation, and God.
Lovely, beautiful. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome.
Great way to end this video. That's perfect. Heather, this was a real pleasure.
Yeah,
Can't
for me
wait
too.
to have a treatment and share that with everybody as well. Other than that, is there anything else that you would like to close off with?
No, just thank you so much, Dana, for having me. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.
Yes,
Till next
you
time.
too. Okay, see you.